how do you feel about, like I said, we're in this environment, everybody's saying they cannot find their person, that people don't exist out here or whatever. And I know you're a happily married man, okay, but for, the women and men out here that are actually looking for really great people, I mean, do you have any advice on where they could go or, the type of people they should look for out here?
Yeah, I think it just depends on your environment, right? I think it's if you want a man that's into real estate or you want a man to make a certain amount of money, that's where you should be. Are you at those conferences? Are you at those meeting places where people gather? I heard a joke one time that one comedian said, if you want a man with a house, you go to Home Depot. You go shop there because he more than likely is probably a homeowner. But I just think it's about positioning. It's just about where you want a man that's into health and fitness, or a woman, you have to be at the gym. And even people discount the church and stuff like that, but hey, there's still great people at the church. If you a believer, you can meet your potential spouse at church. I just think it depends on positioning yourself, and I think a lot of people is just sitting in the house or sitting on their phones out in public, not catching eye contact with anyone, so they could possibly miss out on a great person because they're so locked in on their phone, they're not even paying attention. So I think it's about positioning.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a funny thing about positioning, because I do think a lot of people bypass, just the whole concept of positioning. And, I know I'm always talking about it because I'm like, even if you're at church, right, and you're a woman and you're like, you really like this guy on the other side of the church, it's like, girl, you might have to get closer to him. You might have to sit in another section, if you ever want the brother to talk to you. You can't be thinking, oh, he gonna walk all the way on the other side of the church or tell the pastor, Lord, pastor, stop. There's a woman on the other side of the church I want to holler at. It's not gonna happen like that. So I think women need to think about that. But since you brought that up, and that was a major question that I did want to ask you, how do you feel about the fact that a lot of women feel that there is a lack of men in the church?
It could be true to a degree. I think it depends on where you attend church. I mean, the church that I attend, it's even like 50-50. Like there's, of course, you got your married families and stuff like that, but there's a lot of guys in the church that I attend. So I just think it depends on which church you're at. I think the sign of a strong church is dependent on the male attendance. So I think if you
Mm.
just going, wherever you are, you have to again position yourself to be in such a way where you see a lot of single brothers. So I think there's a lot of good guys out here. I mean, contrary to popular belief, I mean, I'm in a men's group. I know good guys. And I know once this video comes out or whatever, everybody probably gonna go on my DM. Where they at? you know, but but you have to know what works for you. And I tell single ladies this: just because he's a good man doesn't mean he's your man. You
Mm.
have to know the man that works for you. So I just think it depends on what you want, what's your value system. There are good men out here, and you know, I know we talk about the whole 6'4" man and six figures and all that other stuff. I know, I get it, but again, you might have to compromise in some areas, and I think we all do to a degree. I mean, you can't have it all. I believe we live in this culture, man, where everybody just believe you can have it all. I mean, yeah, you can, but there's kind of some give and take. So I just think it depends on what you're looking for, and there are good men.
Wow, that's interesting. You moved it up to 6'4". I thought it was still 6'2", but maybe I missed something out there. Dang, I'm even shorter than I thought I was. Now I done lost 2 more inches out here. Okay, but that's all right. But I like one of the things that you said. I know there's going to be big controversy. They're going to be all up in my comments talking about that statement, so I can't let it slide. You were saying that the level of the church, the goodness, the good preaching, that super health of the church is all about the attendance of the men. So can you explore that just a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and this is controversial. Oh my god. So let's talk about it. So men aren't easily swayed. I'm not saying that women are. I'm just
Mm.
saying a lot of times when a man go to church, he's checking out everything. He might be checking out the ladies too, but I'm just saying if he's going there, if he's going there to really change his life and he want to be closer to the Lord, I mean, he's gonna listen to the preaching. Is the pastor, is he slick? Does he know his word? Can he give me something that's going to challenge me, to help me get closer to God? So when a man goes there, a lot of time when a man go to church, he's on business. Now sometimes you got some guys that go for their own purposes. I get it because people gonna say, hey, this guy was here and he was trying to be a sheep and all that stuff. So I think men, I think they're on purpose when they attend church. I think a lot of guys are serious when they get ready to say, I'm going to church for this reason. Especially, and you see it with the family men. You see the statistics that when fathers go to church, the whole family's going, right? When the woman is going, I mean, the kids might go, but there's power. I believe when men fall in line and they take authority in the way they should be, I believe that we can even change society, man. I just believe change starts with us.
No, I mean I'm 100% with you. And honestly, I actually believe that I would honestly argue that at least 70% of the people that follow me would 100% agree with you. And I think that the problem in our churches is not just that we don't have enough men, because I think that's one way to see it. But I know I had a couple of people on here, that we were talking about this, in the fact of a lot of the pastors today, even when they're male, many of them, in my opinion, are very feminine. They don't have that gur that exists in a true masculine man, and they allow certain things and they lean into certain things, that a lot of pastors don't do, and what a lot of masculine pastors wouldn't do. And one of the things that I've seen is, which is, and this might be another good point to it, but they lean themselves, as these men are leaning into this femininity, more women are showing up at those churches. And do you think that there is a reason why a lot of women are attracted to feminine men?
Man, that's a great question. I think because it doesn't challenge men. Um, because when men take their position, everything changes, and that means that they're going to challenge women too.
Hmm.
A lot of times you hear women say they want a emotionally available man and mature man. Like, do you really want that though? Because that's going to come with a challenge, and I mean he's going to cut off a lot of women that come his way because he's emotionally available, because he have his stuff together. The feminine pastors, I get it. We see a lot of it out here, and I think that's just comfortable for women. I don't want to speak on behalf of women, but I just think it's more comfortable. It's more user friendly, if you will. I think when you have a masculine pastor, and I know a couple of them, that it makes things uncomfortable because, again, a masculine man is going to challenge you.
Well, see, I think that too, but it's so interesting to me because, again, I know for me, one of the things that I deal with every once in a while is these people that are, I don't know if they really recognize it. I think they think that they're truly following God, right? But I think that some of the people out here, they've made an idol of following God, if that makes sense. It's like you made an idol of the literal rules and regulations following in line of God, instead of really locking into who God is, and God is a father. But one of the things that I thought that was really interesting when it comes to that is that I get these people that are constantly flooding in. Every once in a while, they'll say something in my comments, or they'll come out to my group or whatever it is, because they always want to say, well, the way you guys are teaching, people to try to find their person, I don't know if God is in there. As long as they're loving God and following the word and doing all this other kind of stuff, then God is going to deliver. And I agree with that, but then there's also a structure to it. But to your point, and the reason why I'm prefacing that, to your point, I think a lot of people don't understand, at least from my perspective, and that's why I want to know your perspective on it, of who Jesus was, because remember, he's God in the flesh. So
Yes.
when Jesus walked the earth, he was a servant leader. He did more for other people than they ever did for him. Lead even all the way down to the cross, as people want to say. But
Yes.
there's several instances when people came up to Jesus and they were like, "Hey, Jesus, I like you. I like what you're doing. I want to follow you, but I got something to do first. Let me go home, clean my house. Let me go home and grab a bag. Let me go home and say goodbye to my wife." And Jesus was very quick to say, "Well, if you got to turn back, dude, don't even come to me.
Yep.
Okay, we're done right here. Either
Yeah.
you do what I tell you exactly as I tell you right now, or I'm done." And to your point, when you're dealing with a lot of women that are basically saying, "Okay, I want this masculine man. I want this man that's going to be this servant leader." I'm like that, like you said, that comes with a cost. So
Yeah.
now all of a sudden you're dealing with a man that's like, "Okay, babe, let's go. Kids, let's go." And then baby, the woman's like, "Hold on, I want no. Let's go." And so
Hmm.
now it's like it's a whole different world out there. So do you think that a lot of women can handle that level of masculinity? You're getting the servant leader that will bend over backwards for you, that will literally die for you. And a lot of men talk about that. They will put their lives on the line for their wife and for their children. Okay, but it comes with that price. It comes with that price of, boo, when I say let's go, let's go. Okay, do you think a lot of women who say they're ready to get married, they say they're looking for this masculine man, can they handle that?
Man, great question. I think a percentage of women can. I don't know those numbers. Okay, I don't know those numbers. But I do believe probably less than more can handle that. And I think those who can handle that, either they had community growing up, they seen healthy interactions with men and women, and they had a community. They felt protected. I think a lot of times when women have that protection, I believe that they can fall in line. I believe those women are more, um, should I say, submissive? I
I
know
mean,
that's
people
a
just
that's a
want you to say
danger.
the man leads now, but yeah, I mean, yeah, submissive is fine
Yeah.
over on this channel.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. That's I know that's a dangerous word for a lot of people, and so you do have a lot of women who they had to get it out the mud themselves, right? They had, mom had to raise them, daddy wasn't there, or daddy wasn't any good. That
Hmm.
those kind of strong women, they got 4 and 5 degrees, and they got these big houses, and they can kick butt and take names later. I think those women might be harder for them to transition
Hmm.
because a lot of times their worth is based on their accomplishments, not who they are.
No,
So I think that can present a problem. But women who had community, women who had strong men, women who had brothers and fathers and uncles who looked out for them, and they had that healthy community, those women, I believe they get it and they have a better chance of getting the man that they want. Because at the end of the day, a man's gonna go wherever he's valued, right? So she understands that I need to stroke his ego, I need to respect him. And those are the men that she's looking for. She's like, can I have a certain amount of awe of this man? And that's attractive for a man too, to have a woman that's like, I love this guy. My wife said something interesting the other day. She said she was in a women's group and they were saying like, who is a person that you have a respect for? And that could have been anybody in the church or I don't know, a celebrity. And my
mm,
wife said, this lady said, I respect my husband. He's the guy that I look to, like, this is a great man. And every man wants that. So when women have that,
mm.
I believe they can attract that kind of man.
So with that, then, what do you think is the biggest problem? And we sort of kind of danced around this, but maybe we can hit it dead on. What do you think is the biggest problem with, and I know there's so many different levels of of women out here, but what do you think is the biggest problem with a lot of these women finding their person, finding their husband? What do you think is the biggest issue that is blocking many of them?
Being too wrapped up in just their career and accomplishments. I think you have to take some time to just reflect and just be okay with you. And like, can you separate yourself from all your accomplishments? Like, I want to be loved, I want to be valued, I want to be protected, all these things that women want, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you desire. But I think you're just so caught up in just everyday life and accomplishments and kicking butt and taking names later. Like, have some time for you. You know, we talk about self care and all these other different things, but like, what are you reading? Who's in your community? You know, those kind of things. Like, taking some time to pause. And then let's keep it real. A lot of times when you're a single parent, it's tough to try to find somebody because here it is. You are a single parent. Now you working and you got, you know, two jobs and careers and you're trying to take care of this baby and you got baby daddy drama possibly, or he's nowhere to be seen. And that takes a lot out of you. So I think a lot of that has to do with even just single parenting because you just don't have time for anybody, not even yourself. So you can sometimes even barely put yourself in proximity of somebody who you choose to be with just because you're so busy.